a strongly opinionated person. The chokehold that this has on everyone. So confused the whole time. I hated the male main character. Brought out this rage inside me. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be going through the books that I think are the most overrated that I have ever read. I don't like being negative for a whole video, so I've never actually filmed this video or this sort of video before, I don't think. I've seen a lot of people do it, and I do have some books that I have quite strong opinions on. I am a strongly opinionated person, I would say, and I do have a few books that I have some quite strong opinions on that I will be sharing. However, it does not mean that this is objectively a bad book. It is all my opinion, it is all subjective. Books are so amazing because they can mean different things to different people. Like, one of these books could mean so much to you for a reason that I just don't get, and that's completely okay. Just like a book that means so much to me could be completely your least favourite book in the world, and that is also okay. The first book I have is Wild Duck Short by Charlotte McConaughey. This one I thought I'd start off with because this has been hyped up so much recently, and I was so excited to read it, and I was also very excited because it's such a short book and it was so hyped up that I was like, I'm gonna fly through this. It was a drag. How many pages? Like barely 300, and I didn't find any of the reveals thrilling. If you didn't know, it's kind of like a mystery thriller, but it's a little bit more like literary fiction involved as well. It's not like your typical thriller. We basically follow this family who live on this island where they have a seed bank, and these seeds are like very important, and this storm is coming into the island and it will like wreck the island, so they're moving off it, and they've moved all the seed banks. In the midst of this, a woman washes ashore, and it's kind of like, how did she get here? Because it's a very remote island, like no one passes through, and this random woman just washes ashore, and they kind of nurse her back to health, but they're very suspicious of her and she's very suspicious of them. Very suspicious things keep happening. But I just didn't think that any parts were that thrilling. I didn't think that any parts were that interesting. I did really enjoy the writing, and I thought that the description was really good, but I do think that it's a very overhyped book, at least in my opinion. I don't really see the chokehold that this has on everyone. Now we have Lessons in Chemistry. This is also a very, very controversial one because this was an amazingly loved book. It's a very awarded book. It's a very highly esteemed book. I'm scared to review it badly because I think people will just think, oh yeah, well, you're just a dumb idiot who just reads fantasy books. I came in with the right expectations. I've read books like this before and I've liked them. I didn't like this one. I think that people made it seem like it was going to be this really inspiring book, and I don't think for me that it was. I don't know what I didn't like about it. I did like our female main character, I liked the setup of the book, but I just thought it was going to be a little bit more than what it was, I think. We basically follow Elizabeth Zott, who is a scientist, and it's very hard for a woman to be a scientist. In these days, she's very overlooked and she's talked down upon by her male colleagues. In the end, she leaves being a scientist to do this cooking show. Obviously, they don't want her talking about science because they believe that a woman should just shut up and go in the kitchen, basically. She kind of turns this cooking show into a bit of an inspiring show for women everywhere, to teach them about science and to show them that they can know more than just cooking and providing for their husband. So it was good, and I did enjoy the message of it. However, I don't think that the message was anything groundbreaking, but maybe that's because I've grown up in such a feminist household and I didn't see it as the feminist literature that everyone else does. Then we have Heavenly Bodies by Imani. I never know how to pronounce her last name. I'm gonna Google it. Roughly as Ariel or Ariel. I've definitely pronounced that wrong. Anyway, I had a promising start, and that's why I think I'm so disappointed by it and why it makes me so annoyed. But it's so hyped up at the moment, especially because the second book came out. I didn't think it was that hyped up when it came out, but now the second book is out, I hear people talking about it so much, and I just don't understand, because I thought that the start was really good and the start was really promising, and then it just really trailed off towards the end, and I think it got very tropey. Just like your typical romance that's trying to put the tropes in there and trying to be like Fourth Wing or like ACTA, or trying to follow the trends of these massive fantasy books. And I think that I kind of lost interest when the enemies stopped enemying. It's a very pretty book, but I don't think I'll ever continue it. Then we have The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. Now this is part of the Serpent and the Wings of Night series. The Serpent and the Wings of Night series was like a duology, and then this one carries on, but it's about different characters. I really enjoyed The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I liked the second one, which was The Ashes and the Starcast King. And then this one is the book that follows a different character, and I really enjoyed that character. However, I think that this story was just so messy, and I have completely stopped reading this series now. It's really sad as well because this one's my only one that's signed by the author. I can't even get rid of it. But I just thought it was really messily told. I really love her style of writing. I think it's really beautiful, and her books are always so pretty and they have little interludes. So I do understand why her other books are hyped up, but this one I just don't understand, because I just think that it was so differently told to her other books, and it was so messy, and I was so confused the whole time. I really didn't understand what was happening, and it didn't do it for me. Those are all the ones that I have physically. The rest of them I either had physically at one point and got rid of, or I read on my Kindle. The next one is The Awakening, which is the first book in the Zodiac Academy. I never continued the Zodiac Academy. I was so shocked because I was sure I was about to find a new fantasy series. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was like, it's going to be the most amazing thing that you've ever read. Prepare to be addicted. I read it. To me, subjectively, it was very badly written. I didn't like any of the characters, especially the men, and I knew which one was going to become the love interest, and he was doing things, and every time he did something I was like, okay, how are we going to redeem him? And then he did one thing, I don't want to spoil it, but I was like, okay, you are unredeemable now. Like, you are a creep. And I understand there's dark romance, and I'm not really a dark romance girly, so maybe it's just not for me, but I personally don't think he could ever be redeemed from that. And I was just like, what the hell just happened? Next one is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I actually had this one physically, but I gave it to the charity shop because I didn't enjoy it. This one is a kind of cozy fantasy where we follow Emily Wilde, and she's writing a compendium, is that it? About these fairies, and she goes and researches them and writes up her findings, and then she has this really annoying fellow student who he basically is very lazy and he copies everyone. It's kind of like a little bit of a romance between them two, although it's not really. And I was just bored. I really didn't like either of the main characters, and there was no spark between them. I'm so sorry. I just really didn't understand this book. Maybe I went in with the wrong expectations, but I did not enjoy that one. Then we have The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I actually watched the film recently. I've actually watched it twice now. I really enjoyed the film. I think the film is really good, but the book, I think the way it was written, I didn't really enjoy. Some of the lines in it I just thought were a bit cringe, and I thought it was really predictable. I think the film was really predictable too. I think the film was even more predictable. I'm not going to say what happens, but I was just like, obviously that's who it's going to be. Like, I'm not going to say it, but like the last scene of the film is also the epilogue for the book, and I just thought it was a bit stupid, and I never continued the series. So I think that the film is really good, and I think it works better as the film because it's kind of like a fun thriller, a little bit funny film, whereas I don't know if the book had that funny part. Then we have Circe by Madeline Miller. She is the author of Song of Achilles, which I never read because I just didn't enjoy Circe, so I just thought I'd leave it alone. But Circe is like a retelling of a Greek god story, and I was told that it was going to be, again, like this feminist literature, and it was going to be amazing and inspiring, and it wasn't, because I was expecting to be inspired. I was expecting like this mighty story of this woman who takes back her life and stuff, and none of that really happens. And then finally, after I've just ranted about overrated books for 15 minutes, we've got the Things We Never Got Over series. This one was, I think, the first book that I ever actively disliked. I had never felt such strong dislike towards a book before this one, but I just hate the male main character in this first book. I never read past the first book because I hated the first book so much. I can give it that it was interesting. It was an interesting romance because it had a romance going on, and it kind of had a mystery going on. I think there was like an arrest at the end. It had a lot of drama. I hated the male main character. He was horrid. He was obnoxious, and not in a redeeming, cute, like cocky way. He was just horrible, and I hated him. And he obviously hated women. He just liked this one woman, but he obviously just hated women, and I just hated him. And he just brought out this rage inside me. This actually felt quite therapeutic, to just get out my hatred for some of these books and to just get out my rants about some of these books. I actually feel like I've just been to a therapy session, but actually maybe I should do these videos more often. However, I know that I have just been negative about books for 15 minutes. So if you want a more positive book video, I have multiple videos about my favourite books, my 5-star books, my 6-star books. Please go check them out. I'm not always this negative. If you want to, you can subscribe and turn the bell on. You'll be notified every time I post a new video. I promise they'll be more positive than this one. And if you want to, you can give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below what you thought of any of these books. If you liked them, then let me know why, because books are subjective. If you want to, you can follow my social medias at _libraryofeden on both TikTok and Instagram for more bookish content, and I will see you in the next video very soon. Bye.